You are tuned to Kenneth Zenith Cablevision. Thank you for watching. It's time for talk. Each evening at this time, Monday through Friday, Rosemary interviews local personalities and others who bring items of interest to this community. Time for Talk is a community betterment service. Tonight, Rosemary takes us by means of portable camera out of our studios and maybe into your neighborhood. And now, it's time for Talk.
The history of this boot heel, this history of southeast Missouri and the boot heel in particular, we've been running all over this part of the county to talk to people who have heard stories, who have read, and we have come to the one source. We have come to a lady who knows more about this section of the country than I dare say anyone in this section of the country, and that's Ophelia Wade. And Ophelia is no stranger to us. Ophelia, you did a tape with us back when we first started. You talked about how Duncklin County got its shape, how we got this little boot heel.
The heel of the boot.
The heel of the boot, which was involved the Colonel Walker, I remember, and you told me the first I knew about this.
Yes.
But we have been doing a history about how we got the look of the land as we have it today in this county. And you told me about research that you have done into the Deering area. How did Deering get started?
Well, Deering got started because Wisconsin Lumber Company came down to cut the big timber, and they set up a sawmill.
Now, what year are we talking about?
We're talking about 1903.
Okay.
The very early 1900s. It wasn't really a sawmill. It was a place where they actually made the lumber. They weren't just cutting timber and shipping it out. They actually planed the lumber and stacked it up by board feet and shipped it out.
Okay, now how did they ship it out?
They shipped it out by train.
Okay, now the trains came in to accommodate the lumber company. Did the lumber company pay to have the train line put in here?
Well, Wisconsin Lumber Company owned the train. They came into Deering.
Okay.
And that is how Deering came to be at the place where it is. They were moving this big baler and all this stuff they needed for the mill in. And
how were they moving it in?
By the train.
Okay, so they built the train line first.
That's right, and it got bogged down, and they couldn't move it. So they looked at their plat, and they saw that they were within the boundaries of their land. So instead of going two miles further west, which is what they intended to do, they said, go ahead and unload it. We'll just build the town right here.
So that's how Deering got to where it is instead of 2 miles west?
That's right.
Now, what about the name? If it was Wisconsin Lumber Company, how'd they get the name Deering?
Well, Wisconsin Lumber Company was affiliated with the International Harvester Company. And the Deering family of Cook County, Illinois, which is Chicago, was the big people in that particular company. And so Mr. William Deering and his wife and his sons and all had a lot to do with the town of Deering, and that's why they called it Deering.
Okay, so they settled down and they unloaded all this equipment, which was sawmill equipment, right?
That's right.
Were sawmills common in this part of the country about that time?
Oh, very definitely. Now, this one at Deering was the second largest one south of the Mason-Dixon line. Now, you're talking about a big operation. And we had all this virgin timber out here. And they would cut it, and they'd put it on these dummy lines. You know what a dummy line is?
A dummy line just connects a big line.
That's right.
Now, what was the big line it was connecting?
I believe it was either the Cotton Belt or the Frisco. I'm not sure which one of those
it was. And where did it make that connection? I mean, how far did they have to go? Crothersville?
Hayti. Hayti, and then there was also one at Crothersville, but Hayti was the big one.
All right. Now, Ophelia, there were dummy lines in from that, but now there were a lot of other lumber companies. I remember closer to Kennett, there was a Hemp Hill.
There were lots of lumber companies.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Remember, I'm sure you've heard of Lewis Houck.
Yes, I have.
He's the one that's responsible for all these railroads that we have down here, because he told them that he would come down and build a railroad, and all he wanted was just every other farm.
Did he get it?
Well, they tell me in the town of Hayti, where he told them he wanted every other lot, he got it. So I don't know. His name was already off of the deeds before Wisconsin Lumber Company came in. And then when they came in, then they really are the ones who cleared the land. Except up here in the Bakerville area, there was a man from Kentucky named A.B. Smith. And he set up 7 sawmills. He got the timber rights to all of this timber in this area.
Okay, he got the timber rights from whom? Who would that be from? Would it be from the government, or would it be from the lumber company?
From the man who owned the land at that time.
Okay.
And most of the times that was Wisconsin Lumber Company. But he would get this, and he would cut it up here at these sawmills, and then he would take it into Deering to their big operation down there. So he actually hauled the logs to Deering, and then they planed the logs.
Okay.
And then they shipped them out. Let me tell you an interesting story. During World War I, Mary Williams and her friend over Deering, her name was Mary Putnam then, they worked in the lumber yard because there was a shortage of men workers at that time. And they got to thinking one day, wouldn't it be fun to know where all these logs are going to, all this lumber? So they wrote their names and addresses on a piece of lumber, and it was shipped out. She said months later she received a letter from a young man in Canada. And he wrote to her and told her, says, I noticed your name and address on the lumber, and I want you to know that this lumber is being used to make cartons to ship supplies to our boys over in France.
And you're talking World War I?
World War I,
Okay.
And she said they carried on correspondence for a long time. She said it had been family, it never been alone. She was one person who helped me a lot in this history of Deering.
Okay.
Because she came there in 1907.
Okay, so it started basically as a sawmill.
It was a lumber mill.
A lumber mill.
There's a difference in a sawmill and a lumber mill.
Okay, tell me.
The sawmill cuts the timber.
Okay.
Okay, and you have your big sawdust piles.
Yeah.
Okay, but your lumber mill then is the one who takes the logs and makes board feet out of them.
Okay.
And ships them out that way.
Okay, and this is what happened at Deering. They would make the finished product.
Well, International Harvester, the reason why they were interested in this timber was because they were making reapers that used wood, you know.
Yes.
Okay. They were making buggies that had to have the spokes for the buggies.
Okay.
And they had use for wood. So they were making a lot of this and shipped it to Chicago to International Harvester.
Okay. Now, but International Harvester and Wisconsin Lumber were not the same thing.
Basically, yes.
They were.
They were, you know, and when you're in big business, how this one goes in with that one and all.
Okay.
They were basically of the same family.
So they called their lumbering phase Wisconsin Lumber Company.
Yes. It's an amazing thing about Deering that's hard for people to believe because they had electricity in Deering as early as 1907. They took these logs into that mill, and they would always cut the end of that log off.
Okay.
And the end of the log, which they cut off, they put into the furnace, and that's what generated the electricity. And the town was wired for electricity.
So they had, I mean, it was a great place to live.
Oh, Deering, yes, it was, except for one thing.
What?
You could only get out on the railroad track. There was no roads leading into it. And if you went to Deering, you went by rail from Hayti to Deering. And then when you wanted to leave Deering, you had to get on the train again to go out. There were no roads leading west. The little town was fenced. The little town of Deering had a fence completely around it because of the wild animals. There was bobcats and panthers and all other kind of wild animals out there. So they fenced the town, and they put a gate over here by the Methodist church there on the east side of town. And the gate would open at 6 o'clock in the morning and close at 6 o'clock at night.
So the people were fenced in?
They were fenced in, yes. And the entire town, they had all these houses, and there was boardwalks along the whole town. So when you got to go from one person's house to the other, you had the boardwalk to walk on. Otherwise, you'd been probably walking in mud, especially when what we call the monsoon season comes in down here in this gumbo.
Now, how many people are we talking about in this that worked in Deering that were fenced in?
Okay, they had a doctor. They had 4 different doctors at different times, Dr. Farnsworth and others over there. They had a hotel over there.
Would the lumber company see that these people that they had a doctor?
Well, sure they did, because, see, you went to the main building to get your pay. And each month, there was $1 taken out of every single man's paycheck. And that paid for his doctor bill. Whatever doctor bill he would have during the year, that $1 per month covered.
Did the men have their families there, or was it just men?
The ones that were married, oh yes, they all lived there. And the ones that were married, they had $5 per month taken out of their paycheck. And that covered every medical expense that you could have except for the baby. And if there was a new baby born, well, then that family had to pay $10 for the new baby.
Okay.
And so you see, you know who underwrote that? Wisconsin Lumber Company did.
Now, how many people? You were going to talk to me about
We're talking about now that I am saying that to begin with, they had about 100 population over there, and it grew almost to 300.
Okay, and you had good school. They saw that there was a school and everything people needed.
The school, the school went to the 8th grade. Now, if you wanted to go to high school, you called the train every morning and rode to Carruthersville and went to school all day, and they came back on the train that night. So very few people did that.
Okay, so usually you stopped after the 8th grade.
Usually after the 8th grade, most of them stopped. Now, some of them did go on. And then some of them, the children would go to Carruthersville and find a place to live while they were going to high school, especially the young girls. But it wasn't long until the high school was then built, and I think 1928 was the first graduating class over there.
From Deering?
From Deering,
And you ended up going to Deering also?
All 12 years, yes.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
By that time, it was a town in its own right. It was not just the lumber camp.
By that time, it was set up in the plantation system.
Oh, well, now, what do you mean, plantation system?
Well, you see, Wisconsin Lumber Company had used these mill hands to fix its lumber and everything. And then when all this heavy lumber was cut out, they didn't really need that anymore.
Okay, now tell me a year that you think this began to happen.
Yes, we're talking about 1927, somewhere in that time period.
Okay.
Now, the original building that they used, what they call the fuel building, is still standing over at Deering. It's the brick building that you will find over there just south of the service station.
Okay, now was that built in...
That was built in 1903, 1907, when they first came in there.
Okay.
They also have some other original buildings over there. The Methodist Church building is original. It's been there all this time. It served as their schoolhouse to start with. And then after school, the people kept moving in, and it got bigger and bigger, so then they separated the two. And then the other building is their amusement hall, they called it. They had this great big place where they could go play. They could play pool, they could go bowling, they had an ice cream parlor, they had a player piano. In other words, Wisconsin Lumber Company took care of its employees that were over there. And that building is still standing today, too.
Now, how much, do you know what they would pay their mill hands?
Someone told me it was $3 a day. Now,
so that wasn't a bad salary.
That wasn't a bad salary at all.
Early teens.
The barber shop over there, Roland Day's father, Roy Day, was the barber over there. And I'm not sure where that building is still standing today. It was there a few years ago.
Okay.
But I'm not sure it's still there today. I really believe it is.
All right, so it was a self-contained town and had its own school, its own doctors and everything, but the only way you could get out was to go to Haytop, go on the railroad.
That is until they came in and built the roads.
Okay.
And, of course, the roads, see, this land had to be drained first. And when Wisconsin Lumber Company got ready to sell, after timber was gone, they thought the value was over with.
It was worthless land.
Worthless land.
People
That's
said
right.
Had all these stumps, wouldn't be worth a dime.
They call them stumpies. Mr. Clough over at Carruthersville, he's deceased now, but he was in charge of draining a lot of this land. And he wrote a paper for the Penobscot County Historical Society on draining this land out here. And there are lots of pictures that's been made of the way that they would work on in these swamps and all, getting the ditches dug and everything. And when Wisconsin Lumber Company decided to sell it, they put out a brochure called Come to the Hill of Missouri.
Under the Hill of Missouri, where diversified farming pays big, low-price land and all of the things, mild winters, healthful climate, nearby markets, good schools, and 17 years to pay. And the second sheet, fertile farms at reasonable prices. And it's from the Land Sales Department of Wisconsin Lumber Company, Carruthersville and Deering, and the copyright in very small print is 1925. That this brochure was put out. The timber's all been cut. Ophelia, it's been cut, and they are through with this land.
They're through with it, and they're wanting to sell it. See, they tried to farm it. When the mill went out of business, they were using the mill workers to sharecrop the land with. It didn't work, and they were losing.
You have been